Hi, I'm Janice Flemming, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Hello, my name is Kayla Williams, and you are tuned into the first show of The Voices. Now, as you can see, we are in a home setting, sitting in a living room. So this is like we're inviting you into our home. It's going to be very chill, very relaxed as we converse over different issues and topics that are very important to us. Today, the bulk of the show will be about the voices of women of color. And as many of you may know of them, a lot of people are not familiar with who they are, so I'm going to introduce you to them. Right now I have sitting with me Miss Carla Williams. She is the president of the Voices of Women of Color, and she is also my mother. So first we're going to get started on how did the Voices of Women of Color come into play? How did it start?
Well, hello audience. My name is Carla Williams, and not only am I the president, I am now the CEO of the Voices of Women of Color. And welcome back into our space. So we got started, me, Janice, Tracy, sitting at the kitchen table, wondering how we was going to better serve our community and how we was going to make politicians accountable for their actions. And we sat and talked about it. Janice put this strategy together. Everybody, I want to introduce you to Janice Flemming, sitting over here. She is our original founder.
Hello, everyone.
And CEO of the Voices of Women of Color. So we believe in giving back to the community and making sure that women of color have a voice in the community. And that means learning and getting all the knowledge we can from politicians, and having to do with education, incarceration, housing, elderly, and also health needs for our community. So we've been working strenuously on trying to make education better in the city of Hartford. Also have politicians accountable for their actions and what they bring to the community when they want us to put them into office. And I'm quite sure our community will be seeing more work from us in the future because we continue to do bigger and better things.
Yeah. And how long have the Voices have been around? How long?
This is going on our 6th year.
Wow.
Yes.
I remember when the Voices first got started, and you know, being younger, though I was a part of it, I don't think I understood the magnitude of this group. And I'm very honored to be a part of this group. I'm surrounded by such beautiful women. They're very educated, very inspiring, just the things that we talk about during our meetings on a daily basis. So I'm very excited to have this show so you guys can sit on these conversations that we have. It's very insightful, very inspiring and motivating, and I'm honored to be a part of this show.
And we are honored for you to be a Young Voices. Yes. You have done us proud. You have done us proud.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to go over to my right and introduce Maritza, and she's one of our voices.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, I'm Maritza Cintron. I'm a project coordinator for The Voices.
I'm Janice, and I'm a member and founder of The Voices.
My name is Tina Rendon. I am a Voices, and I am also a teacher at Achievement First in New Haven.
Hi, I'm Brandy Williams, and I am actually a new inductee
There you go.
of The Voices.
She got a cute smile, Carla.
Okay, hit us with your question.
Okay, so you have met everyone. Okay, so I came up with this idea last year towards like November, December. As you all know, Beyonce dropped her album.
Yes, Beyonce.
At the drop of a dime.
Yes.
And it went crazy. She has this clip on her song Flawless that I love. Like, I love that song so much because of that clip. And in that clip, they mentioned feminism. And feminism being a person that believes in the social, economical, and political equality of the sexes. When I heard that, I immediately thought of The Voices because that's what we are doing. we are voices of women of color working on equality, and for politicians, for mothers, for teachers, for education, for so many things. So I thought of these women, but feminism, everyone has their different idea of what this word means, what it means to be a feminist. So I thought of you, but that doesn't mean that you guys agree with me. So I want to know, what do you feel that feminism is?
Wow, that's a good question. What
that's
do I
a
feel that
wonderful
feminism
topic.
is? I feel that feminism is strength, resilience, being direct and open and standing my ground for equality for women of all colors in my community.
Yeah. And you know what? We had this discussion prior to the cameras rolling that feminism has also almost like pitted us against each other as women, because Janice mentioned the whole bra burning when it happened in the 60s and the 70s, and she was like, I want my bra. I think bras, you know, I like to shop for my bras, you know, but that doesn't mean that I am not into feminism. To me, if you ask me, feminism is like Carla said, equality. I want to be able to go in, whether it's the armed forces, whether it's a regular job, and if a male is doing it and I'm doing it and we're working the same hours, the same job, I want to get paid the same amount of money. However, I don't want to be to that level of feminism where, you know, you walk into a room and a man wants to offer you a drink and you're like, oh no, I can buy my own drink. Or a man wants to open the door for you and you're like, no, I can get my own door. I'm not on that spectrum.
Me neither.
You know? Yeah, I'm not on that spectrum, but you know what? A lot of women will say to you that, wow, you've taken us way back. No, I still believe I'm Puerto Rican. And so in my culture, we have always had sound roles. It just is what it is. You know, my son takes out the garbage. I do the dishes. I cook. He may pick up the dishes. And, you know, and so it doesn't mean that I'm not a feminist. Of course, I believe in equality. I believe that we should be treated equal. But I do know that there's a male and there's a female. I'm not a man. I don't have the strength of a man. And so I cannot sit there and say I can do everything, I can do all that a man can do. Fact is, that's not even an opinion. Fact is, I can't do everything a man can do. But I still consider myself a feminist.
You see, I don't.
And you are a part of the people that founded the Voice of Women of Color.
Absolutely. And I'm the one with a degree in women, gender, and sexuality.
Yes. And when I view you guys, I think of feminism based on the definition that, you know.
Well, it's whoever gets to define it, I guess.
Yeah.
So what's your definition?
Yeah.
Well, for me, I've never had a definition for feminism. I felt like feminism was a very complicated term for me as a black woman. When I realized that is when I was at Trinity and we would have this feminist day and everyone had on their t-shirts, I'm a feminist, I'm a feminist, I'm a feminist everywhere. And through my studies, I realized that I honestly struggled with the term, right? So I'm listening to the women and we're talking about ourselves being in comparison to this men. Well, as a black woman, I see myself, you know, in terms of pay equality. You know, it's not just men, right? It's white men, it's black men, it's white women, right? It's so, right, it gets complicated, right? So then I start asking myself other questions. Well, will white women advocate for not just, you know, raises for all women, but the women who actually are underneath them, right? As a commissioner, there's this complication of like white women being able to get contracts that minorities, both black men and women, can't get. So what does it mean to be a feminist when you are a black woman is what I ask myself, and I struggle quite honestly with the term feminist, and we're all equal under this umbrella of being women. You know, I remember in class, and you know, with some of some of my white women who we've studied this with, and seeing that, you know, that we got some things going on. When Betty Friedan wrote The Feminine Mystique, and this understanding of women feeling like they needed to get out of their house. Well, black women were already out of their house working and doing everything else. So how do I fit in that framework? Are we fighting for something that really makes sense for me? I'm already out of the house. So at this point, I need you to be fighting for me to get a little more money while I'm out of the house, right? But the fact of the matter is, or I was in their house cleaning while they was bored inside of their house. So, you know,
So let me ask you a question. I mean, so I understand all that, but when it comes down, if somebody says to you, bottom line,
are you a feminist?
Are you a feminist? And so your argument would be, why not? I'm just asking.
Because I just feel like all women are not equal, and until we can all be equal across race, across, you know, sexual orientation, that I don't want to own that.
So when feminism came, that term feminism, I think it was in the 60s or the 70s, it came about, right? Being a young girl,
through white women.
Yeah, well, true, but I'm saying it came about.
Not
I remember
necessarily, because black women in the 60s was dealing with their own. There was black feminism.
I think the picture, the face was the white woman.
It was more like black.
Yeah.
But I think the face,
black women.
Yeah. But
Black
I think
women trying to get on a level to where white women are white women going to come into a group of black women and come into our associations and our groups. They always want to invite us to put us out there. But when it comes to them coming into our space,
I just think that the reason the face was white women is because women of color, period, brown, yellow, or black, were never on TV in the 60s and 70s as prominent as white women were. So, you know, I think that's the reason the face was there. Not to take from you, because I understand that. But what I'm saying is, when I was growing up, you know, I was born in the 60s, so I was raised in the 70s. When I heard the feminists, and I remember clear as day, like, you know, you saw the secretaries working 9 to 5. Remember that movie with Dolly Parton? You know, that was like literally, you know, they were in the face of feminism. We want, you know, more money. We're no longer going to be like, you know, this cute little girl that works in the office and gets your coffee. No, I'm not a secretary anymore. I'm an administrative assistant because I'm doing more.
All right.
So what I'm saying, go ahead.
Yeah, so going back to that, with feminism, I think it's two different pictures. For white women, it was, I don't want to be a secretary, but for black women, it may have been a totally different thing, whereas I don't want to be a maid, I don't want to be a nanny, I don't want to be a house cleaner.
That's right.
So I understand what you're saying, and I think that's why so many black women struggle with being a feminist, and they're more apt to call themselves womanists because
like
they want equality of all women.
Exactly.
And I think until we can, you know, we have to continue this conversation, because until you, like you said, black women and white women and Asian women and Hispanic women, we can all be on the same playing field. It's always going to be a divide between us and that.
And let me be clear, because you know, if we put this in historical context, right, you will see throughout history during the first and the second wave of the feminist movement, you will see women of color truly doing feminist work, right, and framing it at black feminism. So I don't want to be the person to suggest by any means that black women do not or are not feminists. My comments, I suggest from my comments, and my comments is that that's been my own struggle, even in my discourse, right? I'm a women major, and Donna Marcano works tirelessly, one of the voices, she works tirelessly on a framework of black feminism, right? And so, and I've studied it with her and everything, but I find it personally to be complicated.
let's go to some other way.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I just wanted, I mean, we're talking about like the business place and feminism. I also want to talk about like sexuality and like how we present ourselves as women of color, and how if we want to be a sexual being, like how we're looked at as hoes and this, that, the other. It's not just about the workplace, but how we can present ourselves as sexual beings. You know, why do we have to be put in this box where we can't be sexual, where we can't receive pleasure, and through the ages, you know, in Africa where they sodomize the women and, you know, make them feel like they can't receive pleasure, you know, and enjoy sex the way men do. Why do we have to be put in that box?
Well,
That's a good one.
We've always been hypersexualized
Yeah.
through history, right? Like how we've been built, that we've only been made for breeding, and you know, so there's always been women of color and how they're shaped and everything is hypersexualized.
But Tina makes a great point. Wow, I didn't even take it that way, right? Because I'm still talking about equality, money, and all that, right? But you're absolutely right. Like, if a woman says, wow, I'm gonna go out there because we're conversating, right? If a woman says, I didn't come today, like I didn't come, like we had this whole sex thing, we're all women, and I don't know how many of us faked orgasms. Can we raise our hands?
Why we gotta raise our hands?
No, but really, because I just like to say, I don't think a man has ever faked an orgasm. I just don't think a man ever did.
They can.
You know, we've become experts on faking it. But like you said, well, I haven't in a very long time.
They can. First of all, you know, when it comes to orgasms or satisfaction from a woman is tired. She has to get up. She has to get herself ready, her kids ready,
That's that feminism
make
talk.
lunches, cook breakfast, go to work.
Listen, I was gonna
come
take it
back.
deeper.
The house is a mess. Take out the garbage for garbage day. Make sure the kids do their homework.
I was gonna take it deeper. I was gonna say that the reason I have faked my orgasms when I have is because I didn't want to make the man feel bad. That's the only time at that particular stage of my life I faked orgasm, was not to make that man feel bad. Again, going back to feminism in a sexual way. Why can't we just say, no, it didn't happen for me tonight. It's okay. You owe me one, brother. But it just did not happen for me tonight. Okay. But like you said, society makes it where you are not a woman if you don't act like you were satisfied.
Yeah,
But I
and
think-
we
okay.
also,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, we also like are put in this place where, you know, it's okay for us to be at the club and shaking our ass and stuff like that, but then we have to worry about whether the man is going to accept us as a woman and take us home and be like, oh, that's the woman that I want to marry.
Or
you know, a man
respect
wants
us as being
to be,
women.
and they want us to be, you know, like this hoe in the street, and then at home it's more so like that we need to be, you know,
June Cleaver.
just laying on our back and just
The black
taking it.
version.
No,
You can't
why
twerk in the
we-
bed.
Yeah, exactly. Why can't we get on top and control the situation? Why does
Go,
it have
Tina.
to be a situation where we have to be like the submissive? Oh, let me just lay back and just let him give it to me.
Yeah.
No, nigga. Oh, I'm sorry. Can
No,
I
go
say
ahead.
that?
You
I'm
can
sorry.
say that.
Like, no,
But I think
why
that's what's
can't
so interesting. It's interesting because to me, when I think of feminism, I think about the ownership and the awareness. A lot of times we come to blows with other women when it comes to how we express our sexuality. That's the awareness. Whether or not we are choosing to be dressed or undressed. If the awareness is on us and that onus is on us and we understand the full context of our behavior, then it doesn't matter. Because as an individual, being a feminist means that you're a humanist. Because when you look at men and you look at women, really where and who decides where the difference lies. And your awareness is the only thing that really separates you from being aware of whether or not you're being taken advantage of or whether or not this is something that you want to share and explore.
Yeah.
And when we talk about
point.
empowering ourselves, whether or not we choose to make money off of that, whether you're the stripper or you are the Beyonce. And I use those two categories, and I use Beyonce as a category to say she is a woman who uses her sexuality to sell concert tickets,
She sure does.
to sell music,
She sure does.
to sell documentaries, to sell clothes, to sell perfume, to sell whatever it is her future child or children are going to do, whatever her husband does, naming her concert the Mrs. Carter Show. Those are things that tie into the onus and the awareness. The education that she's received has allowed her to understand that between the business products that she produces and her physical self and how the audience receives that, women and men alike. Women love to be turned on by other women, straight and gay women. we love to see that woman dance in a way that maybe we can or cannot dance, but to understand that is where her power lies.
Yes.
And it is that awareness within us that allows us to see that woman for all that she is. Some people may only see slices, but that's where the awareness comes from. Regardless of what other people know, what you know and what you own ultimately is your feminism, is what I feel.
Wow,
Yeah,
I gotta
girl.
say this, really, because you just, no lie, that was perfect.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct. That's perfect. That's perfect, because like you said, why can't Beyonce do it and get applaud, you know, all these applauds and get tickets, $1 million, but Tina wants to, you know,
Let her get on top.
you know, on a local level, you know, move that hair on a local level.
Yeah.
And but what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You're a teacher. You're not supposed to be doing that. That
Exactly.
that was really a good point.
Brandy hit it on the nail.
Yeah.
That's what you, that's
Yeah,
what
she
you right.
did, she did.
Because you said, because Beyonce got a lot of backlash for her album. It was very different from all her other albums.
Yes.
She was very open. She
Yes.
was very raunchy, very
Yeah.
sexy. And people were like, well, she can't be like that. She's a mother now and her fans are young. Beyonce is a grown woman.
She's a
Yes.
grown woman, and I love
Like
it.
she's
I love
it's
it.
that ownership.
Exactly,
I
that
love
ownership.
Beyonce.
Like, we are all grown women, regardless of what our profession is. We can be sexy. We can go out to the clubs, have a few drinks with our girls, and have a good time, go home to our man and have fun with him, and still be a professional woman.
Yes.
And I feel like society always wants to put labels on things and say you can't do this and you can't do that.
Yeah.
And why? Why not? And I feel like a lot of people that are saying these things are just unhappy with their lives. There's no way that you're happy, you're comfortable in your own skin, and you're judging someone because of what they're doing.
Because they're, like you said, because they're thinking of feminism. Again, like you said, feminism to some people too may just be like, you're supposed to be, what did your mom say back in the day? A freak in the bed, but a lady on the streets. You know, because I remember that. My mom used to always say, you need to, you know, who said it right?
Yeah.
What's her name? Betty White? Betty White?
Betty White said
What did Betty White
tonight's
say?
the night.
Because my mother said,
Betty White said,
you only
No
get
pain,
one,
no
you
gain.
better take care of it.
oh, what'd she say? What your mom
You only
said?
get one, you better take care of it.
But what did that entail?
That
Again,
entails that you don't let it get abused and misused.
right, but I'm saying with that, unfortunate because I know what that, you know, we all had that.
Right.
We all come from the same, well, Janice, myself, and you come from that era where it was the unspoken rule, right? That's a jewel, but unfortunately, that it's clouded because now that I'm older and I've raised two daughters, I have a 30-year-old and a 26-year-old. I didn't want them to think that that's taboo. You know what I mean? That does not define of who you are as a woman in
of
society.
course, because I didn't want
You
my
know?
girls to think that, you know what I'm saying? I wanted them to go beyond the box and to be creative and know themselves and, you know what I'm saying, do it and bring to what they wanted out of life. And that means experience whatever.
But this right
But
here, the jewel, that box,
jewel,
that box is not as sacred.
it's as sacred as you want it to be.
There you go.
No,
There
that
you
box
go.
is
That's the
power.
key.
That's what it is.
It
That
is
box
power.
Janice had
Say the
mentioned
box.
the other day, like she wasn't about that. Like she held on to hers because it was a powerful thing. And I
Yes.
think that's where we go wrong, that we don't see it as power and we just gonna give it away and just think that that's how we're gonna keep a man.
Correct.
A man will find somebody else. He's not gonna, just because you give it to him doesn't mean that you're gonna keep that man.
Correct.
You know, it is, you can use
Exactly.
it and it needs to be a powerful thing. You need to
Yes.
understand that it is sacred, but it's also powerful.
Yeah.
Well,
And
that's
we don't
to
teach
understand your
we don't
body.
teach the young, but we don't teach the young people that. Like
Yes.
these people are like Beyonce, for instance. You know, she got her man. You know what I'm saying? Because she understands that what she has is powerful. It's okay to be sexual. It's okay to be beautiful. It's okay
But
to
when
show
you-
your
when
skin.
you-
But
It's
people,
okay.
you know
No,
what?
it's okay
It is.
to
Young kids these
exude
days.
that, but we don't have to give it away.
Right.
We don't
Some
have to
things.
give it
But
away.
you know-
We can taunt we can tease.
Yes.
But you need to work for it. You
Yes.
need to work for
And
it.
you see,
And we don't
yes,
do
you
that.
guys
We
saying, you
just, the
look
young
at
girls
Jay-Z,
today are just giving
you can
it
tell
away.
that black love is a
You know?
strong love.
Yeah.
There's no other love like black love.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when you enter each other and you giving yourself for each other, that's a strong partnership right there. So those two right there, that's a partnership. You know what I'm saying? That's a partnership.
That's a conglomerate.
She's showing everything that she has to get to Jay-Z. And Jay-Z, like I do say so myself. Exactly what he said.
Keep my eyes on my
Exactly what he said.
But like Tina said though, it makes it, like she says, girls nowadays, I remember, no lie, I mean the pressure has been on, like I said, I'm gonna be 50 this year. And the pressure has been on to give your virginity away for a very long time amongst women. That's the sad part, amongst women.
Yeah.
I remember being in the group of girls, and I was the last one to lose my virginity.
Me too.
And it was almost like, oh girl, you have not given it up yet.
Stop
So
lying.
I swear. And
They be like, stop lying.
Stop lying. And it was a pressure built up. It's and no lie.
No, I remember the game when they would say, write down everybody you slept with. Yo, my cousin had 4 sheets. I was like, is this the point where I'm supposed to make up?
We had to profile them like this
some more
Tracy Walker
names.
somewhere hiding over in the corner.
No, seriously, so not to get off topic, my thing is that we as women, going back to the feminists, we're harder on ourselves than I think men have been.
Well, because we compete with each other.
You know,
Exactly.
it's a
Put
woman
on
that
heels and you put on
it's
those skirts.
another woman that says to you, you ain't really a feminist. You got that man doing this for you, and you got that man doing that for you. That ain't a feminist. I beg to differ. To me, a feminist is, like I said, my definition was, I want to get paid the same amount of money if I'm doing the same thing as a man. Period. That's where my feminism lies.
Okay,
Like,
and
that's it.
something was just said about that whole competing. Women compete with each other
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
to try to be better so this man can look at her. And it goes back to being a woman. I don't feel like all women need to be feminists. If you don't want that label, you don't want to fight the power, whatever, that's fine. But we need
I wouldn't even say is that when women get dressed up to go to the club, it's not like I'm getting these heels because I want this man to notice me. It's like, oh, what this bitch gonna say?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
What she about to say because
Yes.
I look hot.
Yes.
So it's not even so much as I'm getting fly tonight and spending this $800 on these Gucci shoes for this dude. It's like, what, bitch?
Yes.
I got these shoes. What you gonna do?
Yes.
So when I say that we do it for women, right? I mean that literally.
Yes.
Like it's not like this idea of I'm gonna wear this and he gonna be checking for me or whatever. Because really, when you go to the club, you already know who you checking for.
But no, I know.
Right? You already know.
I think that's interesting.
And have you
And
been
this is
to-
just a small little sliver in terms of feminist, the idea behind women comparing themselves to men. I just wrote a Kwanzaa poem. And in the poem, I was discussing when it came to...
Do you want to share it with us?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
But us as a collective people collecting certain riches and wearing them on our sleeves. Well, that's what men do, right? You see the sleeves, you see the neck, you see the car. Well, for women, it's head to toe. Head to toe. You are being defined by whether your hair is natural or processed, whether or not you have on jewelry, whether or not you have on makeup, whether or not your clothes are tight. Are you showing your midriff? Are you showing thighs, ankles? Are you showing it all? Because women know you should show some,
As
but
I'm
not
tucking
all.
my stomach
It can
in.
be tight, but you can't show skin. And if
Yeah.
you show skin, it can be a little loose.
Yes.
There's this balance between what it means to actually be in yourself and have the sexuality and exude it, but in a way that's acceptable to who?
Right, right.
The definition doesn't really reside in anywhere except your mind. And that's the thing. So when you talk about wearing heels, I can't wear heels. I'm pigeon-toed. I'm for real. I'm going to have hip issues in a few years. I can't do heels. I might do the kittens. I could do pumps, if I'm feeling inspired. But that's it. But that's my thing because nobody would know. You wouldn't know that if I didn't tell you. It would just be like, oh, she didn't want to put an effort. No, I wear loafers for comfort.
Yes, yes.
I got bone issues,
Yeah,
baby.
I
I
got
got
to
to put
that
that
point
first.
in my life
Yeah.
too.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel personally,
Right.
since we are talking about sexual and everything, a certain heel is designed for the bedroom. It's really not designed
Okay, before we even go there,
It's really not designed for the
Let's see what Kayla
That's how I feel.
Go
Wait
Kayla.
a minute, young lady.
Take control,
I
Kayla.
know, because y'all.
I mean, this is a public health 101.
You're right, but I don't want to go there yet. I want to go back to feminism.
Yes.
And I feel like with being a woman, you have to, all that hatred and envy comes from not being happy with yourself.
Absolutely.
Once you own it, you're aware of it, like Brandy said, you're fine. Like, you can show appreciation for the next female that's looking good.
Yes.
She may look better than you, but she rocking it.
Yes.
And it's not about her being better than you or you being better than her. It's about you guys both being good.
You should
Yes.
be
Y'all being
able
the
to,
best.
Right,
Yes.
you should be able to give a woman a compliment.
Absolutely.
I love to give
Without taking from you.
I love to give my women a compliment.
Me too.
I love if you in a nice dress. I wouldn't care if you're light skin,
Yes.
dark skin, polka dot, or stripe. If you look good, you look good.
Absolutely.
And women should not, you know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm dark skinned, so I've always had a problem growing up. You know what I'm saying? I've been called all kinds of names.
And I'm happy. I'm gonna stop you before you get too good into that, because I'm happy that you brought that up, because that's something that we're gonna talk about today too. Colorism. We have this issue within our culture where we discriminate against our own people because of their different colors, their different hues. She's darker. She's lighter. So how can we even, as a whole, this black feminism, be women together working for equality if we don't treat each other equal within our own culture? So let's address that right now. You were going into a spill about your
Well, how I
experiences.
deal with it is that I treat everybody the way I want to be treated. So I treat all women the way I would want to be treated.
So what are your experiences that you
My
have gone
experience
through
as
with
growing
color?
up, I was blackie, darky, black nigger, nappy head, all kinds of names, and from my own people. You know what I'm saying? But when they wanted an answer to a test, then they came running to me because, you know, my mother. Listen, my mother got her encyclopedias on time. She paid the white man that knocked on the door. And you know what I'm saying? They came every week, and she paid her little money for the encyclopedia.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? So I had the whole set and the atlas. And the atlas.
But you know
so
what,
my
Kayla?
mother would say,
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? You want to know what it is? Look it up.
Y'all getting some history right now. This is how they did
know,
back
I
in the
read,
day.
Yes.
but I couldn't understand.
This
and
was
see,
before
at the
Wikipedia.
time when I was growing up, I was born into a family that had long hair, and at that time, light-skinned women had no hair or nappy hair, and it was just a fact. It was just a fact. It was true from what I seen.
Yeah, did
I'm
you-
talking about 60s, honey.
Did your experience made you feel any type of way towards light skinned women because you were called all these names?
Did it make me feel any kind of way?
Towards the light-skinned woman.
Well, it made me feel as though I couldn't really trust what they said to me as them wanting to be my friend. I kind of cling to more dark-skinned sisters. You know what I'm saying? I would be with my dark-skinned sisters because we could understand each other. Light-skinned women, and then, you know, the light-skinned women always thought that we wanted their boyfriends. When their boyfriends really wanted us because we was the dark and chocolate berry ones. You know what I'm
Sweeter
saying?
than berries.
The
What's Dr. Berry?
The Dr. Berry, the sweeter the juice.
Okay, you know why I'm going to jump into that?
You know, we got a pretty African-American co-founder over in the corner somewhere.
Listen.
I love her. Hi, Tracy.
She left, but let me
she did?
let me say something, which is so ironic. Let me tell you what's so ironic. Let me tell you what's so ironic. You guys may not know this in this room.
No,
Huh? You guys may not know this, but I'm the darker. I'm a dark-skinned woman.
Yes, you are.
Listen, you don't know
Right.
this. In this room, I may be light-skinned.
Right.
But I again, like I
I
said,
don't consider you and Tina light skin. I
Oh,
consider
listen.
y'all brown skin.
no, but I'm gonna take it further. I'm
Right.
Puerto Rican,
Right.
and in my Puerto Rican culture, I was considered the black one. I was considered black. Just how you felt in your community, that's how I've always felt in my community. I was the black, the black.
What are the other shades?
There's really, and then I think in every culture, it's so crazy. From
It's dark
Italy,
skin, brown
from
skin,
Italy,
light skin.
we consider this in Puerto Rico.
Specific.
You're either white, you're black, or you're mulatto. Mulatto is, just like here, a combination of a black and white Puerto Rican. My father is
I always thought Milano
considered...
was a cookie.
No.
So wait, hold on. What are your experiences?
That's Milano, yeah.
What are your experiences with being a dark skinned
Well,
person
this
in
is where
your
I'm going to go to
culture?
because my father's a white Puerto Rican. You look at my father, he looks purely Italian. You look at my mom, she looks like a black lady, light-skinned black woman. My experience has been horrible in my community. Hence the reason I have always been with the African American community. It was horrible. I mean, it's sad to say, but even in college I wrote a paper. My mother herself, if she had to pick a color, it would not have been this color. Because she married a white Puerto Rican man so that she could have white Puerto Rican babies. Right? So I was almost like that token to show her, listen, you can't erase Africa from your world.
Your genes.
And Tina, what are your experiences?
My experience, I think, within my household, like, I think my hair, and I shave my hair. I'll shave my hair off in a minute because I have no problem with it, because it has been such a point of hate within me as a person. Like, we come from multicultural family, and like, my sister would be like, oh, I wish I had that hair. I wouldn't even do that with hair. I'd dread my hair. I've shaved it off. Because I hate my hair because of the way my family has made me feel about it.
Yeah.
Defined it as something special. And my whole thing is like, hair is as good as you take care of it. If you take care of your hair, your hair is good hair. Like, just because you have straight hair, just because you have curly hair, you have a fine texture hair, it becomes, people like look at it in a different way. People always like, oh, well, who is she? What is she? Everybody's always asking me, oh, well, what nationality? Who the
And where
heck
are you,
cares?
Tina?
My mother is a Puerto Rican and German, and my father was Black and Native American. And I look at myself as a Black woman because
Me too.
my father was a Black. I am a Black woman.
I'm a Black Puerto Rican.
I'm a Black woman. Okay, yeah, I'm a Black woman, and I'm proud of that. It took me a long time to come to that conclusion because I kept saying, oh, well, I'm mixed, I'm this, I'm that. You know what I mean? But as I got older, it just became no, I'm a Black woman.
Yes.
You know, embrace me.
Yes.
And that's what I am.
Yes.
And not African American woman, because I don't have any descendants from Africa.
You from Alabama?
I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, and so I'm a Black.
And then guess what?
Woman.
Those Alabamians, if that's what you call it,
They got dropped off, Carla.
So you may not know them.
Have to get dropped
You may
off
not
from
know
Africa.
them.
We could have got dropped off from the Virgin Islands.
No,
All right, you guys.
There's a saying in Puerto Rico that
It's not about, we're not talking about that today.
your great something is African.
We're going to say that for another show. But
Mine
I
is
think
too.
what we can all attest to in this room is that we all go through something. We all have faced discrimination. And it's not about, well, I'm dark skinned and I go through more, or I'm light skinned and I go through this. We all go through something. And what I love about being part of the Voices is that we all are here for each other. It's not about light skin, dark skin. No one is treated differently. We're all the voices, one voice, one sound, and that's what we're about. I appreciate everyone for coming to the show today.
Thank you, Kayla.
This is my first time doing a show, and it was very fun. There will be more shows. I appreciate everyone at home for watching. This has been a great experience.
Is it a wrap?
Can you say something about the Trailblazer, or we can't talk?
Yes, I'm sorry. I forgot. That was supposed to be talked about before, but talk about the Trailblazers event.
Real quick, audience. March 22nd is our second annual Trailblazers Awards, where we're going to be giving awards to the Trailblazers of our community. And buy tickets, go online. They're going fast, so come on and put your spot and buy an ad, buy some table back. And don't we have a great host?
We do. Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you. And I just want to end on this note, because Martin Luther King Day had just passed, and he has done so much for our culture. He's such a, I wish I was around the time that, he was there. But this last quote, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. This show is me taking my first step. I don't know what it will bring, but I'm going to continue, and you'll be able to experience this journey with me. Again, I thank you for watching The Voices.
Okay.